They say every neighborhood has its own Karen. Me? I wasn't so lucky. I got the original version, premium grade, certified self proclaimed queen of the HOA, with a voice loud enough to scare a Texas tornado back into hiding. I live at the end of the street in a small wooden cabin. 42 years, one wife, 3 kids, 4 dogs, and a vegetable garden so good the squirrels line up for their turn. My house isn't flashy, true, but it's mine. It smells like aged timber, creaks in the floorboards, and the hammock swings with the seasons. Put simply, it has soul. And then Karen moved in, hair as blinding as the midday sun, eyes sharp as razor blades, hugging a stack of HOA rules thicker than the Constitution. And that smile? So fake, my cat bolts every time she walks by. Week 1, she complained my tomato plant on the porch was hurting the neighborhood's aesthetic. Week 2, she slapped a warning letter on my door for hanging a t-shirt out to dry. Week 3, she knocked not to say hello, but to say, "Your house looks like a trash heap. You should think about the community." Trash heap? A trash heap! She just called the home I built with my own 2 hands, where my daughter took her first steps and where my wife grows sunflowers. A trash heap? I laughed. But it wasn't a friendly laugh. It was the kind of laugh a man makes right before dragging his opponent to court and keeping them there for the next 3 years. You see, Karen thought she was the law. But me? I had the law and a lawyer. And the best part, she didn't realize she picked the wrong guy until the tears rolled backward on the witness stand. Still here? Good. Don't go anywhere, because what's coming next is the counterstrike that shook the whole neighborhood and sent Karen packing before she could even grab her bags. I live at the end of a cul-de-sac. The kind of place where, if you end up there by accident, you're either the mailman or Karen, out looking for someone to sue. This neighborhood used to be peaceful. Kids riding bikes, old men playing dominoes on porches, and me? I just mowed my lawn every Saturday, raised a few chickens, and dried my laundry outside like any law-abiding citizen with a spine. Then Karen arrived. She moved into a house 3 times the size of mine, with a blinding white picket fence, a lawn trimmed like a golf course, and a pair of high-powered binoculars aimed at my yard like she suspected I was growing weed under the carrots. Karen didn't waste time doing what Karens do best. She won over a few neighbors with baked goods, took over the HOA presidency in just 2 meetings, and rolled out a list of new rules longer than a tax return. The new regulations included no flags allowed unless they match the neighborhood's color scheme. Thus, no chickens unless you had a certified poultry license. And of course, a ban on anything she deemed unsightly. Translation, anything that didn't look like her house. I tried to be nice. I really did. Once I sent her a pumpkin pie. She returned it with a note, "Fails HOA sanitation standards." Another time, I invited her to tour my garden. She took 3 steps, turned around, and said, "To be honest, you should burn it all down and start over." Karen wasn't just a Karen. She was the final boss in the HOA video game. A queen without a crown, just clipboards, bylaws, and deep-seated resentment toward anyone with peeling paint. And then came her campaign, Operation Clean Up the Neighborhood. First target? My house. She sent a warning letter about my mismatched patio bricks, fined me $150 because my grass leaned the wrong way, ordered me to replace my roof with modern reflective materials. Karen, I don't live on a spaceship. One day, I caught her standing in my yard, pointing at the rain gutter like it had murdered her father. That night, I received a full-color, sealed HOA letterhead document titled Notice of Violation. Your property has been officially classified as a detriment to the community's image. Me? A detriment? Karen no longer just wanted to tidy up the neighborhood. She wanted to rewrite the zoning map, starting by erasing me from it. And like every overconfident villain, she made one fatal mistake. She underestimated me. I'm not the kind of guy you scare off with color-printed violation letters. I'm the kind of guy who's kept every home repair receipt since 1991, filed in a yellow folder, annotated with date, time, and the name of the contractor who's been dead for 10 years. I called my lawyer. I started printing documents. I called my neighbor, the retired IRS auditor, and invited him over for tea. And while we're at it, asked him to kindly audit the entire HOA charter. Karen thought she was picking on an old man who didn't know how to turn on a printer. but she was about to enroll in Legal Warfare 101 for bullies who went too far. Karen wanted war? I brought statutes, vengeance, and a 1997 fax machine that still hums like a tank. That night, I turned on my desk lamp, poured a cup of coffee black as the soul of the HOA, and reopened the Karen file I had meticulously compiled over the past 6 months. Every threatening letter, every sugar-coated email starting with "Dear Sir" and ending with "We kindly request your cooperation for the good of the community." Every HOA meeting minute where Karen raised her own motion and clapped for it herself like she was accepting an Oscar. All neatly filed, primed, and ready for the one stage Karen never dared set foot on, the Jefferson County Civil Court. I handed the file to my lawyer, Rick, a man who looked like Santa Claus, except instead of gifts, he delivered subpoenas. Rick read the file, nodded, and said the words that warmed my heart like a wood stove in December. "You want to sue the HOA or go full Karen with the deluxe package?" I grinned. "Give me the combo, Rick. She wants to renovate my house? Fine. I'll renovate her entire legal existence." We filed a lawsuit with 3 charges as clear as the untrimmed grass on my lawn. 1, abuse of HOA power. Karen was enforcing rules that violated the original charter registered with the county. 2, defamation of character. Remember that trash heap sign she posted on the community board? Thank you, Karen, for leaving a paper trail. 3, financial damages, including bogus fines, legal fees, false inspections, and the emotional trauma of losing faith in humanity. A week later, Karen was served. From what I heard, it was the first time in her life she didn't know what to say. The news spread faster than a Walmart Black Friday sale. Old guy at the end of the street sues the whole HOA. Neighbors started texting support. A sweet old lady brought me a cherry pie to support justice. A guy from the corner messaged, "Good luck. They fined me once for hanging a hammock in my backyard." But I wasn't done. I demanded an independent audit of all Karen's newly issued rules. The results? 47% of them violated the original HOA charter, never properly voted on, never filed with the county, and most were clearly made up over dinner. And that so-called aesthetic standard she used to call my house a trash heap? Not legally defined anywhere. Which means it's void. Which means she was winging it. She wanted to play the law? I came armed with a lawyer, a notary stamp, certified land records, and the unshakable spirit of 42 years of lawful living. Karen thought she was the queen of the neighborhood. Me? I made her the defendant of the decade, and I'll be the first witness when her day in court comes. Still with me? Good. Don't blink, because what's coming next is Karen exposed in open court, and trust me, you won't want to miss that moment. Believe me, the judge laughed out loud when he read the phrase "trash heap" in the official court records. Karen stood to defend herself, voice trembling. "I was just trying to uphold community standards. I'm the only one who cares about the quality of life here." Rick nodded and calmly asked, "By doing what exactly? Hiring contractors to inspect private property without permission? Publicly insulting residents? Enforcing rules that were never approved by vote?" Karen had no answer. The judge tapped her gavel and sighed. "I've never seen such an absurd abuse of HOA authority." She turned to Karen. "Miss Mullins, you are not a queen. You are a community manager, not the overseer of people's private lives." The ruling came that same day. The HOA was ordered to rescind all fines. A public written apology was required. And Karen? Banned from holding any HOA position for the next 5 years. In addition, Karen was required to compensate all legal expenses, damages to my reputation, and, in the judge's own words, a properly baked pie to help Mr. Rye. Patterson, forgive and forget. I'm not kidding. She actually said that. Karen came to court with 3 attorneys. I walked out with 3 apology letters, a full legal victory, and a warm, freshly baked blueberry pie from my new favorite neighbor. I don't call it revenge. I call it restoring balance to the universe. 1 week after the trial, I woke up to birds singing and total silence from Karen's house. No knocking on my door, no warning letters, no HOA flyers shoved under my welcome mat. She was gone, vanished without a goodbye. All that remained was a tilted "for sale" sign stuck in her perfect lawn, as if even the house wanted to escape with her. The neighbors? They celebrated like it was the 4th of July. Old Ted up the street threw a Bob Q. Lauren brought over a pie. Thanks for clearing Karen off the map. As for me, I planted the biggest American flag I could find, right in the middle of my yard. Karen once banned me from flying it because it clashed with the HOA color palette. Well, now it waved proudly above the legendary trash heap. The HOA? Still licking their wounds from court, they sent a newly assigned rep to deliver an official written apology, along with a $500 Home Depot gift card. Apparently, they really hoped I'd repaint that fence, this time voluntarily. I used it to buy neon orange paint, just to make sure if Karen ever dreams of this neighborhood again, it stings her retinas. And Karen? Word is she moved to a Riverside immigrant community. No HOA in sight. AKA paradise for me. Probably purgatory for her. Since then, life's been peaceful. Grass a little uneven? No one cares. Rooster crowing too early? They call it rural charm. Clothesline in the yard? People say vintage aesthetic. Every morning I sit on the front porch, once dubbed an eyesore to the community, sip hot coffee and watch my tomato vines sway in the sun. And I smile. Because you know what? That house they once called a trash heap is now a symbol of victory. A victory of reason, of patience, and most importantly, a win against a Karen drunk on power and lacking limits. The lesson? The HOA is not an army. The president is not a queen. If you're a decent person bullied over a slightly crooked lawn or a few extra weeds, don't bow down. Stand up. Print your files. Serve the subpoena. And if you happen to be a full-blooded Karen watching this video, just remember, no one likes being called trash. But plenty of us are more than ready to make you a lesson for the whole neighborhood. Enjoyed this story? Hit like if you've ever dreamed of suing your HOA. Comment below with your own Karen Next Door tale. And subscribe for more legal revenge stories that'll make you cheer. See you in the next video, where a man was forced by his HOA to cut down a tree only to find out it was state protected since 1948. You won't want to miss it.